reactive mind versus analytical mind, and this is the conquest of the self. Now, until you conquer the self, yourself, you will have no discipline. And the thing stopping you from doing this is you. Now, whenever I try to explain to someone that they are their own worst enemy, they immediately come on the defensive and dispute what I'm trying to explain. But this is our reality for all of us. We are our own worst enemy until we fix this. So why is this the case? Now, we've all made stupid or bad decisions at some point in our lives, and there are no exceptions to this. We all have. Now, in hindsight or retrospect, we look back and we think, how could I have been so stupid? How did I not see that? I was not thinking straight, etc., etc. And in hindsight and looking back onto something, things always become much clearer. Great thing, hindsight. But yet at the time, they seemed like really good decisions. We've all been there. You could not help yourself from doing them. We've all been there. And then after this great realization of, oh God, how could I have not seen it, all this and everything, you then vow never to make this kind of mistake again. But even after that hindsight moment, you then end up making future bad decisions. So why is this? Because reactive mind is the dominant mind within your being. It's dominant within all human beings as a default setting until it's overcome. Analytical mind is not fully activated and in control at all times. It only ever gains control for brief little moments. Now, society educates us to favour our reactive mind and rely upon it more. Now, as young children, we're told, do this, don't do that. And then we are encouraged never to question why, what's right and wrong. Well, it just is. You were told to just accept it as truth. And if you don't accept it as truth, or if you doubt it, or you question anything, then often you were reprimanded in some way. This happened to all of us on a repetitive basis over many years throughout our childhood. Now, this way of being taught, which most of us are, shapes your mindset and your way of thinking. And then the more often that you receive this input, the further this becomes subconsciously hardwired into your being. And before you even realize it, reactive mind has become your predominant mind and your normal. And because it's your normal, you do not even notice because everyone else around you is reacting in exactly the same way. Now, in the Bible, it states that he who would inherit the earth, let them be like as little children. Why? Because we were instinctively predisposed to ask questions and to harbour doubts and to use our analytical minds to figure things out, like little children. Why? But, I object, all this kind of stuff, but this skill set was lost along the way and it was educated out of us, first by our parents and our elders, then by our education systems, and eventually by the very fabric of our society. Now, so what is reactive mind? Now, the most simple way to explain this is imagine the dog that instinctively rushes off. You throw the ball for the dog, it's off, chasing after that ball. Dog is excited, dog cannot help itself. Now, the same dog also cannot help itself when the bag of treats comes out and it sits there obediently as you've trained it to do so. It never stops to think, why am I doing this? What is the point of all this? What's my final objective here? Because to chase after an object in order to possess that object, typical dog, possesses the object, comes back, drops the object at your feet for you to throw it again so they can chase it again, and it seems pretty pointless. You're just running round in circles. This is how reactive mind functions. It dominates you and controls you. You do not control it or dominate it. Don't believe me? Well, this is why YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, TikTok videos are so effective at grabbing people's attention. Little bite-sized pieces of content that hold the attention of reactive mind for a brief moment. You know, that's why you clicked on that video. Reactive mind was attracted to it. You know, for a brief moment, you're absorbing that piece of content before the next short clip is delivered before the senses. And then reactive mind selects the next one, and then the next one, and then the next one. This is why marketing videos put out for longevity influencers to sell the latest rat-tested supplement, or by get-rich-quick gurus selling their latest system or any other subject or space, are so effective. They are designed to appeal to reactive mind. Even if you were just following and not buying, this appeals to reactive mind. Even if you are the type that researches peer-reviewed studies, this is reactive mind. The peer-reviewed studies themselves are designed to appeal to reactive mind in order to induce you to act upon them in some way. Analytical mind is the mind that controls reactive mind. It doesn't react quickly on a hair trigger. It's got patience, it asks questions, it harbours doubts, it analyses data, considers all aspects from all angles and all opinions, positive and negative, before becoming to any decision-making process. It does not lead us into trouble or temptation. Analytical mind observes and will intervene if it thinks that you are acting irrationally, or at least that is what it should be doing. Sounds really simple, but the process of transforming mind from a mind that is reactive mind dominant into a mind that is analytical mind dominant is not easy to master, because that reactive mind has been hardwired into your nature by your environment since the day that you were born. All of your instinct towards being analytical has been nurtured and educated out of you by your surroundings and your environment, you know, over many, many years. Therefore, your personality, ego, and the very fibre of your being are all reactive mind dominant. Ego, with its pride, self-perceived reputation, these are manifestations of reactive mind. Even your personality traits, to a degree, are manifestations of reactive mind. Reactive mind shapes behaviour and character over a course of time through, repetitive habit. This is why the transcendence of the ego and the conquest of the self is traditionally called the hard path. Now, the dominance and establishment of full control of analytical mind and the subsequent conquest and the subversion of reactive mind is the single most difficult task that a human can accomplish in existence. And it's for this very reason ego will fight very hard to remain in control. There is no hack or shortcut to this, because self-conquest happens by degree, on a gradual basis, and it takes time. You can't rewire your brain in 10 minutes, because as soon as you've watched that video, bam, reactive mind has kicked back in and you're off, like that dog chasing the ball. You are your own worst enemy, because the self that is ego and personality, which are controlled by the reactive mind, which acts on a hair trigger, and that reactive mind instinctively reacts on autopilot with little or no thought or effort needed. It's just automatic. It's a mechanical reaction, and this is what you are seeking to control. And it instinctively reacts using its predominant reactive capacity. It reacts quickly, denying analytical mind the chance to intervene or to even get a look in. It takes real discipline to do this. It takes real discipline to accept that the very fibre of your being is reactive mind, and it takes discipline to impartially observe that reactive mind in action, and it takes discipline to have the humility to be able to accept that, hey, maybe my ego, is not the center of the world. Now, it takes discipline to remove ego from the center of your world. Takes discipline to accept that you're not even in control of yourself and that you have serious faults. Not many people can do this. You are as much under the control of reactive mind as grains of sand are at the mercy of the wind. But I am in control, I hear you say. And in that moment, you actually are, because it's been brought to the attention of analytical mind for a brief moment. But then, you typically immediately think, how dare you suggest otherwise? I am aware. You've got no idea what you're talking about. But as soon as you think those thoughts, you reacted. Reactive mind. And when you reacted, the reactive mind has instinctively sprung into action on the defensive and has reassumed complete control. The reactive mind process was produced instinctively by ego, the manifestation of reactive mind that triggered the reactive mind response. Its pride and its reputation have been disputed, and it has been subject to an element of ridicule, or so it feels. An offence has been taken. Reactive mind. Now, you might argue that when you're studying, learning, reading a book, watching a podcast, listening to a podcast, that you are actively engaging analytical mind, and you are to a degree. We all have analytical mind at our disposal, and it does make frequent appearances in intelligent people. But while you are doing this, reactive mind is reacting to much of the input that you're receiving. You are receiving information and analysing that to a degree of whatever your capacity to do this permits, but at the same time your reactive mind is reacting to the input. Your ego content either disagrees or disagrees. It has an opinion based upon its pride, its reputation, and its history. Proof. If that information that the input that you received to your analytical mind states something that you feel would make your buddies laugh at you for accepting it and thinking it, then that thing gets dropped quickly and rejected. Am I correct or not here? Regardless of whether it's logically correct or not, or if there is any reason to it that requires further thought, it's been rejected because other people will not accept you for it. And if not your buddies, then certainly society itself. Oh, what will people think? Reactive mind. If you have any level of self-awareness or presence, then you know that this is completely true. People often react to what is completely illogical. Now, some might say, but I do have reactive mind activated. I think things through. I research things. I never jump in without considering the consequences. Good for you if you do these things, because there are many that don't. But you've got to ask yourself, so why do we react to insult with anger? Why do we keep making poor life choices, bad relationship choices, choosing bad friends, making poor financial decisions, getting into debt, desiring a bigger house or more money, or wanting what someone else has, or more comfortable living, because this is reactive mind. Whenever analytical mind puts in an appearance, it's usually only for brief little moments. It's easy and normal today to get caught up in all the trending hype. This cannot be denied. This is reactive mind. Because when analytical mind appears, it quickly gets conquered by reactive mind, because reactive mind reacts. And then before you know it, you have rapidly settled back into your hardwired reactive habit state, and the attention of analytical mind held for such a brief moment has been lost again. Example from our modern world. Recently, claims have been made that it's possible for us not to die, or possible for us to extend our lives beyond 150 years. And the hype of this movement has a huge following. Proof: there are now a ton of longevity channels which proves what I'm saying. Reactive mind induces us to follow this kind of hype. Reactive mind created this movement in the first place because of ego's inherent fear of dying. Reactive mind causes many to follow this and to believe in this. It offers hope to console your fears. Again, reactive mind at play. But should analytical mind step in before you drop your hard-earned cash on all the latest trending life-extending supplements and ask a question or two, like, hang on, where are the people that have extended their lives by doing this, taking these supplements? Where is the real evidence? I want to see this evidence. Show me these people. But the real evidence is papers, the scientific papers produced by humans with vested financial interests either in that supplement or with connections to the supplement industry. And they've got vested financial interests in you believing those papers and buying into whatever it is they're trying to convince you of. That's analytical mind at work. You're asking questions, you're thinking, hang on a moment. You're not accepting things at face value and just reacting to it. Because the fact is, the papers have never been independently verified as true. Marketing and advertising agencies play on this instinctive reaction, this hair trigger response. Oh, I don't want to die, I want some rapamycin. It's what drives you to fulfill desires or escape from your fears. And they play on this, these marketers. But I'm lying to you. This is solid research, some might say. So show me the people who lived beyond 100 years old by taking NMN, rapamycin, resveratrol, metformin, N-acetylcysteine, and all these other supplements that papers, research, and longevity influencer marketers claim will extend your life and permit you to live beyond your predetermined genetic potential. Show me these people. Where are they? It's never been done. These people don't exist. Could ask, comparable, this is comparable. Is Santa Claus real? Well, he could be. And there is more hard evidence in favour of this being true than there is of finding living human subjects that extended their lives using longevity supplements. Yet this brutal logic did not prevent millions of dollars being spent on these supplements and following the hype of something that is as fanciful as Santa Claus flying around on a sled pulled by reindeer in the air on the 24th of December, mass delivering Christmas presents across the entire globe. And then before you know it, even if you manage to think of this truth, reactive mind then moves back in, takes back over and takes over and resumes control of analytical mind, which was held for such a brief moment and then has been lost again. Analytical mind, reactive mind comes in. This is why it requires real discipline to make analytical mind the predominant mind that is predominant at all times. And this is the real conquest of the self. It's not the gym sessions of the alpha manosphere. For that attention of analytical mind to become the predominant mind, the mind that observes at all times, and for this mind to be in control at all times, and all the while you are trying to accomplish this, reactive mind will continuously fight back. It will react and it will act against you and against this objective of self-conquest. Welcome to the hard path. This is what discipline is. If you want your content bullshit free and marketing and ad free, subscribe and follow for more.